Hey y'all, back again. We've got a refresh of the old D&D build. We've swapped a whole, basically, partial edition at this point. They updated Banneret. In general, this build has been absolutely juiced, even considering its previous incarnation being very, very valuable. So, let's take a look. For anyone that's new, this is effectively just a build levels 1 through 10. Typically, if you're playing a campaign online, you're not really gonna have a campaign that goes all the way to level 20. In general, this is also where I like playing D&D, because the power isn't too, crazy or stupid. This is really good for a lot of, pre-built style campaigns, or homebrew, whatever works. In general, the entire gimmick of this build is sort of to be emblematic of that sort of, banner-wielding, horse-riding, Knight of the Round Table style archetype. Very much that, but you don't have to play Paladin. You don't need spells, magic is for pussies, you don't need that shit. And so, effectively, what this means is, with this build, we're going to lay the basis, foundation at lower levels, and then build on the archetype, build on the strategy, right? This build focus heavily on team support, on supporting different parties, on adapting to different campaign settings, on just being adaptable, being a jack of all trades, but a master of several things, not a master of none. It's very, very, very fun. I've played it many, many times at this point, and I hope to show you guys some of the tinkering I've done with it over the last edition change or two. Now, the race that we choose is Hobgoblin from Monsters of the Multiverse. It is an old race, so you are actually able to give yourself an origin feat. The only things that have changed outright from it is that. Otherwise, it's the exact same Dark Vision, Fey Ancestry, just really good passive. Man, I don't have to worry about that. In general, you also get Fortune from the Many, where you get a +3 on a roll, based on how many allies up to 3 are within 30 feet of you. If you're close to your allies, like you should be anyway, it's just a really nice, get out of jail free card, oh, I'm, right below the DC. Cool, never mind, +3. Fey Gift is also a big crux of this build. There is a lot of usage in it, especially in higher levels, though in low levels it has its benefits. You basically get to bonus action, help action, proficiency bonus times per day. Same with Fortune from the Many. It gets juiced up at level 3, so we will talk about that. The other thing is, because we're choosing an origin feat here, this will actually override any feature we get from our background. I will still have one for flavor purposes, but I would very much recommend going with the musician origin feat. Anytime you do a rest, right? Inspiration to literally everyone else in the party, because it's a proficiency bonus, is just so useful, because you already are absolutely, this build has been updated, you're still a short rest like King Queen. It's just what you do. It's very, very necessary to, be resting and taking breaks between combat and doing your best to get the most out of that, because at the end of the day, you're not going to be a 10th level wizard. You are not going to have, over 100, individual resources between spell slots and everything else. You will have a lot of resources for a marshal, but, you just won't have as many as some other people might have. The class that we went with, of course, is Fighter, as we're going for, that knightly archetype. Typically, you could accomplish something like this with Paladin, but the specific flavor is going to be with Fighter. It's also real nice and very versatile in different campaigns. There's no real campaign where a fighter is, wow, that's never going to be useful, especially with some of the changes that allow a lot more support out of combat with Fighter in 2026, 2024. It should be very, very nice. In general, I'd recommend the weapon that we'll be using for flavor for this build is a pike. Obviously, still take your longsword and longbow because it's standard knight stuff. But a pike is really, really nice because of masteries. Push mastery is very, very efficient, especially on something with reach. If you are on horseback, mounted, while fighting, you can push something away while never getting, within range of it. And so you can just do, run-bys and lance people, basically, without actually having to use the lance. It's also very, very useful for stacking with other masteries, or at level 9 you get Tactical Master, you can then push, sap, or slow with the pike, so you can poke someone, step away, and then, they can't really get to you because you slowed them. It's genuinely just really, really effective. Flavor-wise, what we do is we take the pike, and then we take a banner of whatever knightly order we're on, and we put the banner on the pike. So you're literally fighting with a banner, like Banneret, literally speaking. When you're fighting with your longsword or your longbow, you can just stick it on your back, and so it's just sticking up above you, like you're, Sagashimono banner, like you're a bannerman in an army. And it's really nice visually, it's fun, it's interesting. Typically, whenever my character's, like, talking with a group or whatever, I'll have him plant the banner in the ground and, like, place around it and then pick it up when they move, that kind of thing. It's generally just really flavorful. As for fighting style, we're going to be swapping this out at 6th level, specifically because we will have built up the build that great weapon fighting will not be necessary at higher levels. I believe it's level 6 when we swap it. Great weapon fighting is really, really necessary for lower levels. Even though you are a fighter, you lose out on any of the ability to smite that a paladin has, and so you need to be able to up the, 1% lows of the damage. And so being able to re-roll the bottoms of the D10 is just very, very useful, especially because you have so few attacked you. You have to make sure that they count, and this just really, really helps in extraneous circumstances where you're rolling like shit that night. The other things you get, because this is levels 1 through 2, you get Second Wind. It got buffed in 2024. You get multiple charges of it now, which is really nice. It does only reset on Long Rest now. You will get more use out of it, however, in 2024 than with 2014. We will go into that when we pick the subclass. In general, is a really, really nice ability. Action Surge is still just as good as it is. The advice is the same as previous guide for that. Use it for double movement, use it for attacks, use it for literally whatever you need. It can save an encounter. It's fantastic. Tactical Mind is where Second Wind's other uses and Long Rest reset are okay. Tactical Mind is one of the best, just like base core class utility features I've seen them add to any class ever. It's very, very, very effective. A free just like D10 on top of something when you fail a roll is so, so useful. Especially because with this build, you can start stacking that with a bunch of other things. For example, Fortune for the Many and a couple other things that we'll get later. This is just incredibly effective for persuasion rolls or history rolls or insight rolls. If you need to identify an item or figure out, a safe place to travel along a road, this is very, very clutch for very essential rolls. Giving a potential plus 10 to something as a fighter is just incredibly useful and very, very potent. The background we're going with, again, we're not really doing it for the feature, because we are taking Musician as an origin feat. We are taking the Noble, but we're taking the variant of Noble that is Knight. It gives us both Persuasion and History proficiency, which is very, very useful in general. Obviously, we're going to be focusing on Charisma as the main stat for this build, given that we're a Banneret, and so because of that, Persuasion is very nice. And then History is just good no matter what setting you're in. It's really good to be able to, yes, I know this ruin. I don't know, these people made that. It's very, very effective. Dragon Chest and Dice are fun for roleplay purposes. An extra language will be nice, because they did change some Banneret stuff. Having a good amount of base languages will be very, very nice. A Scroll of Pedigree is also really nice in different settings, being able to, get your party entrance into a noble city or whatever, like, we have a permit to be adventuring out here, that kind of thing. Now, if you can negotiate with your DM, having both Musician and the feature of your background, the option I would recommend, very much so, is the Retainer's background that you get from the variant Noble Knight background. You effectively get 3 allies. I'd recommend having one of them be a squire, and then 2 of them being just, messengers or, people going with you, serving you. Mechanically speaking, they're basically just unseen servants that you can just have walking around doing things, have them pick up supplies, have them, convey messages back and forth. There's a lot of roleplay opportunities with the squire, there's a lot of backstory, and depending on the setting and the DM, implications you can do with the knight background. Why are you out as a knight? Why do you have retainers? Who's the squire? What's theirs? There's a lot that you can do with it, and so I think it's a very nice background to take, regardless as to the actual benefits mechanically. Now, there's a lot of little bits and pieces at lower levels like this. We do still have, a decent bit. For most fighters, we're not a champion fighter. We don't literally have, nothing at this fight. We have our Hobgoblin features. We have Musician as our background. We are being supportive, right? And that's how you play this build. You be supportive of your allies. Be active, talk with NPCs, talk with players, be, directing people around. And on the battlefield, push people around, knock them around, help your allies. be focused in these lower levels at just sticking it out to where you get the flashy stuff at later levels. You will not be flashy, but you will be effective at these lower levels. Base 2024 fighter is it feels a lot better than 2014 because you have stuff like weapon masteries. You have second wind, and tactical mind especially goes a long, long way into flavor and mechanical strength and that sort of deal. Levels 3 to 5, we get decent power boosts all along here. As said before, there were some updates to the Banneret subclass. Nightly Envoy, we actually get 2 features. Group Recovery and Nightly Envoy. Nightly Envoy lets you, on a long rest, you can swap languages around, and then you can also cast Comprehend Languages, but only as a ritual. This makes this build basically omni-effective, no matter the setting, because there will always be people in a setting, there will always be discussions, there will always be ruins to go over, old archives, old books to read, people to talk to, and so that doesn't matter for this character, right? Typically, oh no, I hope someone has Comprehend Language. You have Comprehend Languages as the fighter. And then after it, on a long rest, oh yeah, I just, like, picked out this dictionary, or I remember my family has some history, I know some of this language, I took an elective. It doesn't matter where you're going, where the setting's taking place, when the setting's taking place. Information is one of the most important things that you can try to obtain as a player, and typically that's something that, you know, wizard or a bard or something will, like, look into or talk to people. You don't have to just be chopped liver outside of that. You as a fighter can go around, learn things, talk to people, overhear conversations, read texts. You can use this in general to not be left out and to actively be proactive in learning information as a group. Trust me when I say this, as someone who personally DMs a lot, this kind of feature is something I adore, because you can have a character who you can guarantee will understand what you are giving to them, right? DMs want to feed you information. They want to tell you things. And this gives a bedrock base level of information that it's an avenue to send information through that is guaranteed just by picking this subclass. The DM will love you for that. Trust me. Because you already have Persuasion History, Intimidation or Insight are good proficiency bonuses if you want to take them here. Group Recovery is the buffed but also slightly nerfed Rally Cry. Technically speaking, if you use the 2014 Banneret, you get the second wind, and you can use it on every second wind, so you do technically get more cumulative healing, and it's over a larger range. It went from 60 feet to 30 feet with Group Recovery. However, I still think Group Recovery is ultimately a buff, because it's an emanation in 30 feet, and there's no dumb, like, sitting there text that's like, oh, you need to see or hear them. Nope, you just get to apply the healing, and it's a D4 plus fighter level now. Especially at lower levels, this can literally save the campaign, straight up. You can just, hey, I use my bonus action, no anti-magic effects will deal with this, no interruptions. Everyone just gets up. Even at this level, level 3, it's 1d4 plus 3. That's minimum 4 HP, maximum 7 HP. That is some characters, like, that's like half their HP. Just, boop, you're up. And this is not a once per long rest ability, as I've seen some people say. Because you should be short resting with this subclass as much as you can, you save your second wins if you can, because those reset on a long rest. But if you use Group Recovery, take a short rest, you can then use Group Recovery with another charge of second wind. It's only once per long rest on the second wind recovery. Group Recovery only has a soft cooldown of a short rest, so you are able to use this multiple times per day. You just need to be able to get them short rests in. Big tip, this build is very, very strong in a party. If someone in your party is able to get the catnap spell, it helps incredibly with the longevity of your features and that sort of deal. Very, very powerful stuff for Banneret. The other thing at level 3, and again, this is where the real flavor can kick in, is the Fey Gift you get from Hobgoblin. There's 3 different options you can choose. Especially because of weapon masteries, I would almost never choose Spite, but the 2 that are very effective and have helped me and party members in many such occasions are Passage and Hospitality. Your main is gonna be Hospitality. It gives, I think it's a D6 plus proficiency bonus, or charisma modifier, I can't remember which, to yourself and the ally that you give the help action to. And that's a lot of temp HP, right? Because, for example, a feat that we will take, I think it's next level, will give us, I think it's equal to fighter level or some such. That's a decent bit, right? However, on average, right, a d6 plus whatever your proficiency bonus, so like 2 or 3 at this point. 3 at next level, 2 at this point. That's around 5 on average, right? That's 5 to 2 people, so that's 10 temp HP. Again, this is level 3. If you are, you know, running into combat, sticking next to another martial like a barbarian, giving them temp HP, back and forth, the enemies are chipping your temp HP off, you're just reapplying it over and over again, you're giving your ally advantage, you're giving both of yourselves temp HP. You are effectively, basically having party members worth of temp HP at this level, just tanking it out. Does not damage, never need to spend hit die, it is incredibly helpful. Your allies will really, really like this. Trust me, other players love getting advantage. They love getting temp HP. They love benefits that don't cost you your action. You can still attack. You can still interact with the environment. You can still do stuff, but you're also helping them. It's what really, really helps with this character fantasy in general. It's very, very effective. The other thing that's also really nice is the get out of jail free card. The, hey, let's get the fuck out of here, thank you very much. That dragon's gonna recharge its breath weapon. You hit him with the passage, both of you get 10 feet of movement. Incredibly useful. Help action in case you need to move over difficult terrain or climb out of a sticky situation. If you need to run away, hey, help action, let's get the fuck out of here. Boom, book it, help action to get out. It's wonderful. It's very, very useful in many situations. Level 4, again, another juiced addition to the subclass. We're going to be taking the Inspiring Leader feat. Again, with Musician and this, short rest king queen. That's who you gotta be with this book. You gotta be the king of short and long rests, especially short rest, because every single short rest, everyone in the party, assuming a 3-person party, is going to have an inspiration. And with Inspiring Leader, everyone in the party is going to have a bunch of temp HP. Over the course of a long adventuring day, if you can get 1, maybe 2 short rests in, especially after the long rest, because you can top this off on there, your party is going to get out of shit that they do not have a right to survive. I've been playing this build up to 6th level, though I will be tinkering it slightly with these new deals. I've actually looked at some new things and adjusted here. But I've been playing in a Stream Sunday game, plug in the description, and in general, this has allowed us to survive Curse of Strahd as not super min-maxed characters, and that should tell you exactly how effective this is. There's no duration on the temp HP, so it's just take a long rest. Every short rest, you can just upkeep a ton of temp HP on top of everybody. It's incredibly efficient. And then you don't need to worry about keeping yourself alive, because you get another use of second wind per long rest. And so you have a lot more staying power as a party once you hit this level, because you give the temp HP from Inspiring Leader. You have your second winds, you upkeep the Inspiring Leader HP with Fey Gifts, you guys take a bunch of damage, the whole party gets fireballed, walk up, you and another guy, boom, you just have the temp HP back, you're fine, you're good, you're awesome. This is also really, really nice because you can't always, because this is a bit of a frontline build, you can't always be in the back line to help, casters are ranged, and so Inspiring Leader will always make it so that at least the first hit they take, it is guaranteed that they will have a little bit of extra health and they'll have a little bit of a buffer. At level 5, we get a couple extra bonuses. 2 attacks is really, really useful, especially with the pike. You can very much, roleplay the fantasy of driving an enemy back, pushing them back 10 feet, pushing them back with 2 hits, and just pushing them back. You can very much focus on moving enemies around and shoving them, or, grappling and then stabbing with your sword, or that kind of crap. Or shoving prone and stabbing with your sword and pike. There's a lot that you can do with a second attack. It's very, very useful. The other things that you can do, because we have proficiency bonus, is you can use Fey Gift and Force for the Money 3 times for a long rest. That's incredibly nice. Again, we're just stacking up the resources. I have a slide on the bottom and end of this presentation where you just have so many resources. You have so many. You have tons for a martial. And this is just more and more and more increasing. More temp HP on hospitality, more, it is proficiency bonus, more resources throughout the journey. It's great. Tactical Shift is also really nice because you will be using your second wind. You will be activating that to activate the flippin' group recovery. You'll be using second wind to activate group recovery anyway. And so, nothing beats the character fantasy of everyone's down around you, you're on your last legs. Use your second wind, heal yourself, get everyone else also up, because you can now use it on down allies, and, for free without any extra movement, dash towards the enemy just as quick with bloodthirsty rage for vengeance for your party. It's great. It really helps second wind, and it helps regroup really be a superhero type ability. It helps group recovery be a, alright, we're all gonna get the fuck back up and we're all gonna keep fighting moment, which is very, very effective character fantasy-wise and mechanically. Now, with level 6, this is where, I'll be real, this is where we get plot armor, partially. The Purple Dragon Commandant feat is also from Heroes of Faerun, which is what the subclass is from, so if they're letting you use this, they should let you use this, your DM, I mean. This actually goes off of strength for its temp HP gain. As a bonus action, you can give any creature that you can see within 30 feet 2d6 plus strength modifier temp HP. Again, there's no duration on this, there's no addition, and it's also just proficiency bonus times per day. So you can use, right, you now have the option to point blank heal with Fey Gift, or at range heal with Purple Dragon Commandant, or mass heal, give it a mass heal with group recovery. You have a lot of temp HP you can dish out. You have a lot of actual HP you can dish out. It is just very, very, very useful to be able to point at, like, someone getting jumped in the back line. Boop, you got a bunch of heals, you're good. The other thing that what I refer to as plot armor is you get advantage when your health is under half, when you're bloodied, on all attacks. That's all attacks, right? That's free reckless attacks with no downside, really. And the main thing you use to kind of abuse this is if you use Fey Gift, or if you take a rest and you don't spend all of your hit dice, you can still get, you know, the temp HP from Inspiring Leader, and your actual HP won't go up above half, so you're still bloodied. And so you get the benefits, even though you can still have, like, over, you know, a half to a third of your HP be temp HP. You can still get the just pure Omega advantage, you know, Super Saiyan mode, right? It's very, very powerful. The Purple Dragon Commandant feat feels made for the new Banneret. I couldn't not take it. There is the Purple Dragon Rook. I actually don't like that as a feat choice, because there is a better option, even though it's not exactly in the proper flavoring that I think was intended. We will get that at level 8. This one, in general, though, is just absolutely necessary for the character fantasy, and it's so nice. You know, you get bloodied, it's down for, if you go down, you're not able to heal your allies, you're not able to keep them up, and if you go down, all hope is lost, you just, you know, lock the fuck in. And it's great. It's a wonderful character fantasy. However, if you remember, we're not done yet. Martial Versatility from Toxic Cultures of Everything still applied. And I'm also pretty sure they did just up it to 2024, that you can just swap with Superior Technique as your new fighting style. This was something I was considering letting go from the last part of the build, but it is really nice. Even if it is just once per short rest, it gives you more short rest upkeep in terms of resources. It is really nice, and again, it can be incredibly effective for a commander strike, just to bam, and slam down on someone. It's just very, very effective. Menacing attack is good to, like, if there's an escort with an NPC, or you need an ally to move, but you cannot wait for them to move, so you're trying to give them the passage of Fey Gift. They don't have time, they gotta move. Congratulations. Menacing attack, move, and then you can bonus action, you know, second wind, heal them, and then also move out of the way yourself if you want with tactical shift. So you can really move people around on the battlefield, you can keep your allies going around in places, and this just gives a little bit extra capacity to do that mechanically. The main thing that I have found myself using this for is Commanding Presence. I sort of put this as an extra option in the 2014 guide, but unironically, this is so much more juiced in 2024, because you can stack this with Fortune from the Many, you can stack it with Tactical Mind, and you will just generally have a high Charisma, as that's what you should focus on for stats when it comes to this build. It's just, it allows for some actually stupid rolls. I do some math in a later slide. It's genuinely kind of stupid that you can beat, like, you can literally beat a Bard's Persuasion rolls with the right setup, and that's this setup, so it's really, really sick. Anytime we have an ASI or a feat, from this point onwards, you can swap to superiority if you're just taking too much damage, because your DM is, you know, very too hit happy, take defense. If your allies are getting hit next to you over and over again, take interception. The point of this build is to be versatile. Following these individual suggestions for features and everything will get you a good result, but I want to make sure that you know that it is swappable. You are willing to tinker with this. If you do tinker with this, if you are willing to tinker with it, you will get better results based on the campaign that you're going for. Level 7 and 9 is very much solidifying the bedrock that we've already laid. We have most of our resources. It's just, hey, how do we juice it up a little more? And the new Banneret feature at level 7, when we literally did not have a feature effectively, we just had expertise and persuasion, which is good, but like you can get that anyways. This is so much better in comparison. This is a great feature. Team tactics. Effectively, when you do the mass heal, everyone gets Omni advantage. Not on attack rolls, not on saving throws, not on skill checks. All D20 tests. All of them. There's no like once per. Every single roll your party makes will be at advantage for a whole round of combat. You can activate the plot armor. Because, remember, this works on downed allies, right? If group recovery, people are down, right? Hey, guess what? Bonus action, 1 bonus action, and 1 second wind charge. Everyone's up. Everyone gets a bunch of healing. Everyone has, like, full advantage for an entire round, so they can get themselves out of a screwy situation if they went down in a bad spot. And this is a bonus action. You can take your bonus action first, before the rest of your turn. You can use your attack to use menacing or maneuvering strike to get people to move around. You can remaneuver and get people up. You can, like, this is it is literally like the main character energy with this build, because you have advantage while bloodied, and then, you know, it's very much the visual of, you know, you're bloodied, you're down, your allies are down, you just rally them up, and you can literally turn off the TPK with this build, with this setup. That is how strong Banneret has gotten. It is niche, but when it works, it is genuinely amazing. It is such a fun character fantasy. Level 8 is, again, a bit of a choice. I have a personal preference here, but I do recommend one more feat, even though the stats are a little screwy. What I would very, very much recommend, the options that I have here, Heavy Armor Master is nice, like, long-term, if you're in, like, a setting where there's a lot of just, like, you know, standard enemies with non-magical weapons. Otherwise, if, you know, you're fighting dragon cultists the whole time, you use cantrips and stay away from it. Durable is incredible if you aren't able... Take Durable if you're in a campaign where the DM is not letting you short rest. If you have made it to this level and you're not getting short rests at all, if you are not getting your abilities back, if you're having trouble staying alive, take Durable. Because this turns every single one of your hit dice into something that you can use as a bonus action. You don't need to wait until a rest to use your hit dice now. It gives you 8 more second wins at this level. It's a massive glow up compared to Durable in 2014. It's very, very useful if what you are worried about is you staying alive. However, if you're able to get at least like 1 short rest a day, it might be a bit of overkill. And my personal favorite pick here, even though you also can't just do charisma bonus, because it'll give you bonuses for a lot of your abilities and whatnot, I would recommend the Lord's Alliance Agent feat, another Heroes of Faerun feature. This one's technically an origin feat, but you are allowed to take it as just a normal feat. Technically speaking, beyond the scope of this build, it lets you take the Lordly Resolve, which is just very thematic, because it's bannering, gives everyone immunity to Charmed and Frightened and whatnot. But specifically when it comes to just this feature on its own, it really, really helps the subclass come into its own mechanically, because there's sort of like this hodgepodge mismatch of advantage and inspiration and temp HP. You have a lot of temp HP. You don't have so much in the other ones. Lord's Alliance Agent lets you solidify the other ones, because you will now have advantage on all attacks when bloodied, but You also have advantage on anyone that's attacking your allies that you're within 5 feet of. And now, this specifically, like, it will force you to get close with the pike, but you don't need to worry about getting stuck in melee, because you can run up to someone, attack them within 5 feet, and then push them 10 feet away with the pike, and then just walk away. Like, you can use the advantage, and then hit them, and then leave. You can just walk away. This build moves people around, it pushes enemies around, it keeps your allies up, and this lets you juice even if you're lucky, because whenever you crit, you can give an ally within 30 feet, which again they should be. You should tell your allies, hey, almost all my abilities require you to be around me. Please stay around me. Pretend I'm a Palman. Pretend I have an aura. Please. It lets you it lets you re-top off the heroic inspiration. That is powerful. That is insane, because not only are you giving everyone heroic inspirations every time they short rest, you are giving everyone heroic inspirations every time you crit. Everyone. It is so useful. You're giving everyone inspiration on rests and in combat. You're giving everyone temp HP on rests and in combat. You're giving yourself advantage just by playing the game how you should be anyways. And you're giving your allies advantage every time you're using your features you should be. It's such a fun back and forth in combat. It's such a good choice. I very much would recommend it. Level 9 does get some extra bonuses compared to the last one. It's not as much as an empty void as 2014 was. Indomitable has gotten a massive buff. Effectively, Tactical Mind basically just, it was Indomitable. Like, they just gave you Indomitable with Tactical Mind for, like, for skill checks. But they needed to juice Indomitable to make up for that. So what they did is they made it so when you use the Indomitable reroll, you get a bonus equal to your fighter level, which is minimum +9, +10 next level. That's amazing. It's you can get a bonus from Fortune from the Many on top of that. If your DM is cool about sharing inspiration, you're making sure everyone's topped up with that, so everyone's going to have all their inspirations. It is incredibly potent, incredibly powerful to be able to, oh, I got fireballed. I guess I'm just gonna die. Oh, wait. I take half damage from this. That fireball doesn't even go through my temp HP. The fact that like, is a technical mathematical possibility now. Like, you can just say no. While I think this feature should just be, you know, legendary resistance, this is still really effective. This is still really, really, really powerful as an ace in the hole, as a, no, I don't think I'll fail that wisdom saving throw. No, I don't think I'll get mind blight. I don't think it will happen. Sorry. It's very, very powerful. Tactical Master is just even more versatility. No longer do you have to choose to only do push with the pike. You can push people with your longbow. You can push people with your sword. You can sap people with sword. You can sap people with your bow. You can sap people with the pike. You can slow them with a sword. Slow them with the pike. Hit them with the pike. Slow them. Hit them with the pike again. Use the push mastery and send them away. Then walk backwards. If they have base 30 feet, they can't get to you. They don't get to do anything. They have to dash now. Like, it's just, the weapon masteries have added such a nice, just little basic kind of metagame to playing a martial, and this build is no exception with that. And you're able to be versatile as a martial with this. It helped you keep up with, you know, paladins that are dealing a ton of damage, or lighting enemies on fire with a scorching smite, or barbarians who have like all these extra dice that they can sacrifice damage for. This lets you do a lot of extra stuff. It lets you juice your attacks. And then, you know, another proficiency bonus increase. 4 charges of Fortune from the Many, 4 charges of Fey Gift, 4 charges of Purple Dragon Commandant. It's just, it's amazing. It's just amazing. So much temp HP, so many reroll bonuses, so many help actions to your allies. It's great. Now, to cap off with the subclass feature, this is a glow up, right? Again, it had a range nerf, but it literally doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. It is straight up, hey, it's no longer just one weapon attack. One melee weapon attack, mind you. It is one weapon attack. And they get to choose. Do you want to move with no op attacks, or does everyone in the party? Because at this point, you know, I term worst case scenario, you only go about 14 in charisma because you want to focus on con and strength. Cool, whatever. Kind of defeats the purpose of the build, but whatever. Cool. 2 allies. literally twice as much as 2014. Even in literally the worst case scenario, you are doubling the amount of attacks that you would have gotten from previous. Rogues get their extra sneak attacks now. Monks can have their extra stunning strikes. It's incredibly effective to be able to, hey, I'm gonna double my attacks. Oh yeah, also the rest of the party, can you also kind of like lock in? Thank you. Obviously, it's dumping a lot of resources like at once, but an incredibly potent series of events is to use your bonus action, use group recovery, get everyone up from being downed, maneuver people around, action surge so that everyone can immediately weapon attack, and if you use maneuvering attack, they can use their movement, so they can use half their movement of that movement to get up from prone, by the way, if they were down. Little tip, has helped me. In general, it's super, super effective. And then, you know, because you didn't need more of them, 4-second wins. Cool. Awesome. The resources we have with this build it's just kind of stupid. I'm going to go over literally everything, because it is kind of dumb, right? When it comes to the amount of individual... People talk about marshals as a quote-unquote resourceless, you know, classes. They don't have anything. Well, that's wrong. Because per short rest, you can use group recovery. You have an action surge. You have 1 Battlemaster maneuver. You have Inspiring Leader on up to 6 creatures. And you have Musician Inspiration on up to 4 creatures. Already really, really potent. But then you also have 4 uses of Second Wind or Tactical Mind. 4 uses of Fey Gift. 4 uses of Fortune for the Many. 4 uses of Purple Dragon Commandant. And an Indomitable. And then, always active are all of your weapon masteries, your advantage on attacks so under half health. Lord Lion's Agents, you've got the inspiration going out to everyone, and the advantage on anyone that's attacking allies. And then you also just, you know, because you're juicing your charisma, you've really good persuasion, genuinely really good charisma and strength-based stats, because you're juicing those. It's just, it's really, really kind of funny, the amount of resources that you will have to spend over an adventuring day. Even if you are, you know, running like Tomb of Annihilation or something, and you just never rest, you're always out of stuff. Once you get a rest, everyone in your party is going to thank you. You are going to keep other people's characters alive, while also keeping yourself alive, and giving everyone advantage on everything, and giving everyone inspiration, just constantly. This is a build that other players at the table will love you for running, because you will be able to keep everyone alive as a marshal. It's awesome. You're not trading your ability to tank on the front line for your ability to deal damage. You're not choosing between healing spells and damage AoE spells. You don't have to choose. You can just do both. And it's incredibly effective. You also don't step on any healer's toes. Like, if your party has a dedicated healer, that's fine. You're not healing too much. And then most of your healing's temp HP. So, like, you're not stepping on anyone's toes. You're not getting in the way of actual healing, which is pretty sick. A bit of math for some certainly interesting bits. Again, worst case scenario, right? Try to juice up your charisma a little bit during creation. Let's say you have 14 charisma, right? You have your normal proficiency you get from your background. The base is your proficiency plus 4, charisma plus 2, 1d20. You can add up to 3 from Fortune of the Many, up to 6 from Commanding Presence, and up to 10 from Tactical Mind. Assuming best roll, that's a 45 persuasion roll. And I want to make something very clear, right? If you take this down one proficiency bonus level, you could do this at level 6. You don't need to wait till level 10. You can get a 44 persuasion roll, because the only thing that goes down out of all of these bonuses is 1 in proficiency bonus. You can, at level 6, or if you really, really want to, you can do Superior Technique from the get-go, which means you are, technically speaking, able to get a 42 persuasion roll, right? A 42 persuasion roll from level 2 when you get Tactical Mind, because you can have Commanding Presence at level 1 or 2 with Fighting Style, and then Fortune from the Many you just get from base Hobgoblin. This build, technically speaking, allows you to get a 43-42 persuasion roll at level 2. Not even goddamn Eloquence Bard can do that shit. It's just crazy, right? It's leaning into the knight in shining armor that leads troops, that leads its allies, that emboldens them, that inspires them. It's so fun, man. And it's gotten juiced mechanically since 2014, and so I really like sharing it with y'all. I think it's very, very effective. A ton of temp HP, you know, just upkeep a ton with Purple Dragon Knight, Purple Dragon Commandant, and Fey Gift. You're having a ton of short rest. There's a ton of Inspiring Leader HP. Bunch of advantage to everybody that you're recovering. It's, dude, Sword Bard and Warlock eat your goddamn heart out. The amount of resources that you have as a non-magical martial is just wonderful, man. Who cares if the Spell Plague is active in the campaign? Doesn't fucking matter to you. Here, take your temp HP, take your inspiration, have fun. It's great. It's a wonderful time. To close out the build here, the general pros and cons is that you just have a ton of resources, especially due to Tactical Mind. You also have a lot of resources outside of combat. You're able to keep everyone alive. You're able to give the Inspiring Leader temp HP to NPCs if you're traveling with them. You're able to give inspiration to NPCs, technically. It's kind of crazy. But it's just, it's very, very effective. It's very flavorful. You can tinker it to be a knight of noble birth or a lowly hedge knight. You can do whatever you want. It's very, very potent, very, very powerful, and very flavorful. It's the closest we are ever going to get to a warlord class, let's be real. As far as cons, if you don't get short rests or any even long rests, worst case scenario, yeah, it can definitely, definitely struggle bit by bit. If there's not a ton of combat, you can struggle a little bit, though I would say a flame that burns brighter is better than one that burns often, so even if you only have, like, a couple combats in the entire campaign, if you stop everyone from going down in 100% of the battles of the campaign, that's just objectively a good thing, so you're good. If you also have a DM who, doesn't like you flavoring attacks or abilities, pushing enemies around, is like, oh, actually, you can't see them for that temp HP, whatever, right? Just do your best, do what you can, have a good time, Could you take these same features in some capacity and get a similar build with an Echo Knight? Yeah, but would you be able to literally Deus Ex Machina the entire campaign by getting potentially the entire party up from being downed and give them all HP and allow them to, like, move around and actually do stuff and give them all Omni advantage for an entire fucking round and have your entire action active after that? Because you get Action Surge. It is a very niche and hyper-specific build. But when this build clicks, it rips, man. It is just peak. It is absolute peak. And so, I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you for your patience. Any questions down below, please let me know. I'm more than happy to answer any clarifying questions. And if you have any other ideas to add or subtract from the build, let me know. Till then, see you next time. That's all I got.